Welcome everyone to another episode of the Global CTE podcast. I'm Sylvester Chisom, your host, and today we have a very special guest, Dr. Mike Gibson. I'm super excited to have this young brother on the show today. Let me tell you about Mike, okay? Dr. Mike is a CTE teacher. He teaches business classes. He teaches entrepreneurship classes, computer tech. He's been doing it for 5 years within the St. Louis Public School District, which is one of the largest districts in the state of Missouri. On top of that, he's also the founder. This is what I love when educators are going the extra mile to really prepare our students for success. He is also the founder of the Young Professional Student Academy, where he's really preparing these young people for success in the global marketplace, to be ready for work and to present the best version of themselves. I'm excited to have you here. Welcome, Dr. Mike. How are you doing today?
Oh man, I'm excited to be here too as well. I'm doing great, man. I'm blessed. We're on winter break right now, and I'm just enjoying all of this rest that I'm getting. I don't even know what to do with myself, man. I'm having this time. I feel guilty resting.
That's funny. That's funny. I love it. I love you said it about the rest, man. That was not going to be my first question, but I'm going to shift that. Like, how are you preparing yourself to come back into the classroom rejuvenated and just re-energized? What are you doing during your off time during this winter break?
uh, so right now, man, I just been uh, just kicking back, watching some Netflix, man, just trying to just do things that don't require me to really think much. You know what I'm saying? Uh, just relaxing, going out to eat some of the good foods that I enjoy, spending
Yeah.
time with family. And then I'm also kind of doing some like helping too on the side, like serving. Uh, some people like one of my family members, they a little bit older, so I go over their house and stuff like that, and I, help them out and take them to the store, help paint and stuff like that. So,
Okay.
help paint. We did some couple projects, painted the kitchen, painted the living room. So that's what I'm doing, man. Just spending time with family, relaxing and serving, man. Just
Yeah.
getting my mind off of school.
I like that. I think that's important, man. I'm glad we actually kicking it off with that, because it's so important that you can't give if your cup is empty. You can't pour out into other people the way that's necessary to be an excellent educator, the way that you are. So I think that's good.
Right.
You share some of those self-care methods and strategies of serving and just relaxing, doing some mindless activities, you know, just catching up on your Netflix. I love it. I love it. So man, listen, let's jump into it. So give me some of the things, like what's it like teaching in a large school district, like teaching CTE in a large school district like St. Louis Public. What's that like?
Man, it is. Man, there's never a dull moment. Every day is different. Every day is different. There's no day that's the same. Out of all the years I've been teaching, which is about half a decade, man, not one day has been the exact same. And at that time fly by, man. I remember my first day teaching, my first class, man,
Okay. Okay.
just like yesterday. I enjoy it. I really, 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 really enjoy it a lot, man. I really found something that I'm doing. I can say that like this is my my purpose, man, on this earth is to be working with kids and education and working with other educators and stuff like that, and learning as much as I can from them, learn as much as I can from my experiences, learn as much as I can from those that had the success before me, so that way I could make education better, man, because minorities suffer the most
Hmm.
because education wasn't really created for us,
Hmm.
not in America, not for
Hmm.
minorities.
Let me jump in right there. So can you share a little background, like the high school, the demographics where you teach at? It's at Vashon High School, right?
Yeah, that's definitely correct.
Okay,
Sorry, I got a couple, got some visitors behind me that's decided
it's cool.
to come
It's all right. Don't worry
behind me.
about it.
But in my school right now, it is 99 0.9% African American. We have our school is a uh, 100 about 100% free reduced lunch
Okay. Okay.
type of school. We're in the north side of St. Louis, which is typically considered one of the rougher areas.
Okay.
But through that, those kids are a joy to really be around. Once you once you crack that egg open, it's soft on
Mm-hmm.
the inside.
Mm-hmm.
Also, a lot of these kids, majority of them don't have a father at home.
Okay.
Uh, that which plays a big part
Mm-hmm.
um, in the society, the environment where we live, which shapes the culture of the school, which uh, is a part of the identity of the student,
Mm-hmm.
and and a lot of these kids are when they graduate are first generation college students too as well.
Really, I love
Yes.
it. So talk. So okay. So going into a school like that, man. First of all, I want to say thank you for what you're doing, working with our young brothers and sisters in the St. Louis City community. I think it's super important for them to see examples of success like you, to see educators that look like them. So that's a powerful piece. And I'm curious, what can you share some strategies or some things that work for you for cracking that egg to get them to buy in to the lesson plans, or to buy in to what you're doing in the classroom.
So this may sound very, very unorthodox, but
Okay.
it's just something about breaking bread.
Okay.
When you eat lunch with somebody, you feed somebody, that it just definitely it does something that makes a big difference, man. It definitely it helps with uh, helps people to let down the guards, because a lot of these students, they got their guards up, because a lot of them, man, they come from these rough situations that a lot of times are uh, very, very traumatic, um, and they deal with things that a lot of us haven't even dealt with before at all. Some hard
Mhm.
stuff. So just one, like I noticed, just like feeding them, just something so small, like getting them some food, bringing them some McDonald's or a bag of potato chips or something, or bring them something to drink like a Gatorade or something. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mhm.
that was one of the first things that I did,
Mhm.
and that right there really uh, made a big difference. Something so small, and then too, what a lot of people don't realize, man, is that this the food that they serve in the schools,
Mhm.
especially in the African American schools and lower economic areas across the country, man, that the food, the kids complain about it,
They complain about it. So here you
complain
come
about it.
offering something in support of something that you know is personal to them, to show them
Right.
that you care about them. So like it's not just, which I love that, man. Like what you kind of where you going with that, Dr. Gibson, is like it's like not just I'm here just to teach this class, but no,
Right.
like I care about you as a person, and we have to
Right.
start. Is that a good way? You feel like that's a really good way to build rapport first, to get buy-in, is showing them that you care about them as a
Yeah,
person.
that's yeah, man, because education is personal.
Right.
It is. You can't. How do you expect these kids to respond and be able to learn if you are not like showing them that you care, because they have tremendous needs that they lack, that they can't control. I mean, a lot of people complain about, those kids, especially in the African American community and Hispanic community, they tend to be more violent and angry. Well, I mean, already a lot of them don't have fathers at home. But goodness, if you are hungry, you
Mhm.
hungry at home, And then when you come to school, you still hungry. And then when they
Hmm.
do give you something, the food is not good, and it's almost like relative to prison food. I mean, how do you expect the kids to act? You
Hmm.
know, I kind of got this idea from uh, it was a program that I did when I was in middle school. It's called Aim High. It was a school called John Burroughs,
Okay.
private school, very wealthy school. They brought in the kids from the inner city,
Okay.
and I noticed those exact same kids, put them in a different environment as the
Yeah.
kids that do have the resources, the support, right?
Okay.
How those kids were completely different. They performed better in school, behavior was better. All those nuances, those different little stereotypical things were automatically solved and changed.
Hmm.
And the lunch was like eating dinner with a family. They had this long, big table. They had multiple long tables, and they had
Okay.
good food, like healthy, good food, pasta, like stuff
Hmm.
like that, and
So,
it made a difference.
so you were really touching on a point of which I've heard this a lot. Like before you can really try to teach someone something, teach a kid something, like the basic needs have to be met first. Like, is it
Right,
food, shelter, you know, somebody showing that they care about them first.
right,
Then we
right,
bring in the information. So let me
right.
push you. I want to push you on something else. I'm curious. Can you talk to me about like careers, like how you incorporating, like what are some teaching strategies, some things that you're doing to really engage with uh with the population that you're serving, with the young students
Mhm.
that you're serving. What are some strategies you're incorporating to expose them to different career paths within your business or entrepreneurship or computer tech classes?
So one of the things that I'm doing is, of course, like I bring them the food and stuff, so I got their attention, and I make the lessons and myself relatable.
Okay. Okay, I like
Make
where you're
the
going. I like where
lessons
you're
and
going.
myself relatable. Things that they see in their normal environment, things that they see on their social media, because their social media is not like our social media.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like, pull up my Instagram. Well, I don't have an Instagram account, but like, on my, I used to have Instagram. I used to have Facebook, but like, pull up like our Instagram. Like I was just using me as an example if it was figurative speech, but pull up our Instagram.
Okay.
We in our 30s, right? Our
Okay.
Facebook, and
Okay.
compare it to the feed of a high school student.
Okay.
Completely different. So what I do is I listen to the kids, I pay close attention to them, and I utilize different things that's relatable to them. Like, they love music, they love hip hop. So I incorporated a lot of different lessons and case studies that's involving hip hop, current event type of stuff. They love sports, so I utilize sports too as well. And then I also have lessons to where I
Okay.
compare those professions, because those are the professions that the kids tend to want to go into:
Okay.
basketball, football, uh, entertainment as it relates to rapping, singing, and we do actually, because I'm a research guy.
Okay.
That's what I do. So like I perform, we actually do live research in my class on my big smart board, and I
Mhm.
compare those different um, professions to other professions, like being a doctor, being a lawyer,
Okay.
uh, also even working in education.
Okay.
And we did one study where we compared a doctor's salary to somebody, the average NFL player. And
Okay.
I threw out the question first. I said, "Who do you thinks gets paid more, the average guy in the NFL
Okay.
or a doctor?" And they all said the NFL.
Okay.
So we did some research. How long does the average person play in the NFL? What is their career? So we're looking at the average, meaning everybody all together in the average in between it. And we found out it's about roughly like 3 years. and
Right.
then how much money that they make. The average in those 3 years is about close to about around just a little north of 1 million, right?
Right.
But a doctor, the average, we've seen that they make around $400,000 a year, and we
Okay.
looked at how long are they in their profession, like
Right.
20,
30
30,
years, 20, 30
40
years.
years. And then we added up,
Okay.
okay, so those 3 years they made, NFL players made a little over 1 million, and then we added 400 something $1,000 a year times 20 years. You
Yeah.
see?
Yeah.
And so it really opened their eyes. Now I got students that want to be doctors now. I got
So I
students that
love,
want to be doctors.
I love it. I love it, Mike. First off, I love the approach. You personalize the learning. You started with the carrot. Okay, let's start with, okay, what do you guys want to do? Let's go sports. So let's talk NFL numbers. What's the average? Okay. What's the average numbers? So you also brought some interdisciplinary in there on that with, okay, we have some career, some math, some research, personalized and relevant. Man, that's a heavy combination. I love that approach, man. That's that's what's needed. We need more of that in the classroom. Like
Oh yeah,
with our curriculum, that's a big focus for us is trying to make it relevant and engaging in ways that's going to prepare these students to be
yes,
successful in the global marketplace. But you have to find what they care about. Like that's you can't do it without that personalization. So that's heavy. I like that. Can you give me an example of how you maybe do something you've done with entertainment, like you said. I think you mentioned something with
yeah, for
sometimes you
sure.
do that.
Yeah. I do. I use that a lot. And one of the things before I go into that, just as a precursor, so you have to be, you have to stay relevant. You got to
Yes.
keep yourself up on these things, like because for one, you're showing that you're interested in the things that they are interested in. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
We literally had a debate in my intro to business class
Okay.
about um, what considers somebody a successful rapper, or what like what makes somebody a more accomplished rapper. You see what I'm
Okay.
saying?
Okay.
And a
Okay.
lot of them kept saying, "Oh, well, we think NBA YoungBoy is the best rapper. He's the most successful." So we did some numbers. We looked at some numbers, and I'm like, "Okay, so you guys say NBA YoungBoy over
Okay.
Drake and Kanye West?" Yeah. Man, he killing them. They old. So I said, "Oh, okay. Here we go again. We'll pull up the smart board. We did some research. We
Okay.
looked up NBA YoungBoy's network and his success, uh, and we compared it to Drake's, and we compared it to Kanye West, and he's worth about 6 million. Drake is worth about 200 million, and Kanye
Yeah.
West is worth over $1 billion. So I
Yeah.
said, so who's the more successful?
Okay.
So, and then I broke down, into the context on why. So in being young boy, he's only able to attract these amount of people.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
he's like he only have a certain segment of people, and he appeals to a certain segment, more of like a niche type of group. But
Okay.
you have Kanye West and Drake; they appeal to their appeal stretch
Hmm.
globally.
Now, did you go? I'm curious. Did you go into products too? Like, okay, yes, Kanye is also music, fashion,
Oh,
sneakers. Like, understand,
oh,
like he's
yes, I did.
transcended that to product.
Yes, I did, and I also used it as a segue to show them how he impacted the culture. I said the reason why y'all wearing those fitted type of pants y'all wearing now is because of Kanye West, and the reason and those shoes, his shoes are some of the top selling shoes, and y'all wearing it. The old guy, the guy you said is
Okay.
old.
Man, listen, I love it, Mike. Like you are really man, you're doing it in a way that is relevant. This is a much needed conversation, and I hope everyone who's listening is catching the energy of what you're saying is try to find ways to engage your students based on things they care about using entertainment, television, fashion. You know, if you put that in your lesson on the front end, then you can do the teaching. The teaching just kind of naturally happens in itself. It's like, oh,
Oh yeah.
he's that young boy, but then like, hold on, Kanye, like, oh, I didn't. Yes, you're right. These are his sneakers. Oh, I didn't think about it that way.
Oh
Now
yeah.
we're talking business of like, okay, you're interested in entertainment. Entertainment doesn't just mean you can only do the music. You could be the person to make the music production, behind the scenes, the audio engineer. These are all career paths. It could transcend and go into fashion. So it's
Oh
like
yeah.
it's really presenting to them like such an interdisciplinary approach, which again, like I say, man, that's we're big on that conversation around not just teaching in silos, like, oh, it's only business. You can't do business without like, or you can't do entertainment without fashion, without music, without product, without like people, without HR. It's like all these things are all infused, and
Oh
that's
yeah.
that's the best way to teach. I love that you're doing that.
Oh yeah.
I
It's
love it.
fun. It's fun, man. Man, and by me using those different things, man, that's a God given thing, man. Give me these ideas, man. God
Okay.
gives me all these different ideas on how to relate to these kids, man. Now, man, I got kids in the inner city. Man,
Okay.
they can tell you about GDP. They can tell you what GDP stands for, what it means. They can
Yeah.
tell you about interest rates. They can tell you about uh, trades as relates to like the economy, like imports and exports and stuff like that. They could tell you about all that stuff, man. These same kids
Yeah.
in the inner city that a lot of people wrote off and said that
Yeah.
they're not smart enough. They're just a bunch of criminals. These kids can talk to you about the economy and they actually pay attention and listen, and
Mhm.
they could spit all that back to you.
Which I love something that sounds like I hear you doing. You frame you frame them in the way of when you talk to them, you talk to them with high expectations. You speak to them in a way that is saying, I see the best in you and I know that you're capable of receiving the best the world has to offer, and not offering them a limited perspective. Talk to me about your organization, the young professional student group that you started within the school. Can you tell me more about that? Like how is that incorporated, and what are you doing to push them into career paths or prepare them to be successful?
So, uh, the Young Professionals Academy, that's a group and a school of students who want more. They want to go the extra mile. Those are those overachiever type of students, and they're not satisfied with just learning the typical things we learn in class, which I give them a lot, you know, but they want more. They want to go the extra mile. So within that program, which we've been operating, man, that time flew by. We've been operating since January, so going on a year now. We've been operating, and so like I mentor every single one of those kids. This is roughly about 30 kids in their program. We just had some that just graduated and are in college right now, and I work with those kids on one, I monitor the grades. So we have weekly check-ins where I check their grades, and it's just me. It's been me doing it. But I do have a business partner now. I thank God for that. Somebody that's helping me too as well. But I check their grades every week. Um,
Okay.
and when I check the grades, I see like what assignments that they're missing. Because it gives me, by me being a teacher, I have access to the system and it gives me a detailed view of everything that's going on. And I stay on them about making sure they get all the assignments. I also teach them on how to develop relationships with important people. First off, starting with their teachers, so that way they can get the best grades possible. So the focus has been one, helping them to increase their GPA because
Okay.
I need them to be prepared for the real world, either to go to college or
Mhm.
if they want to go to a trade school. So that's one of the main things because they have to have the best GPA possible. Because majority of them they do want to go to college, and I want to put them in the best position to be able to get scholarships and all of that good stuff. So that's one thing that we do. Secondly, another focus is also like helping them with the college process. So like we apply for colleges. I ask them, okay, just give me a list of schools that you're interested in attending. So they give me all that, different schools, and then I talk to them about how to narrow it down to where they make the most economical decision. I preach about getting the least amount of student loans possible, preferably no student loans. We want scholarships, we want grants. In order to get those scholarships and grants, you gotta have GPAs. You gotta be able to present yourself the best way possible to people. Um, so that's another thing. We do financial aid stuff because I started out working in higher education. I worked in admissions,
Okay.
and so like I gave out thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars of scholarships. So I know what that whole process is like. So I helped them with that, and
I
then
love
and then I also help them with other different things too as well. Just like then they just come to me for many different things. They look at me almost like an uncle, pretty much. Like I have one kid, she like gotta like because I've been heavily preaching financial freedom in my classes and with those students in my program. I preach that heavy, no loans. We break down on how the car industry works and how the system
all
is
that.
designed to
Yeah.
get you caught up in car loans and get you caught
Yeah.
up in debt.
Yeah.
So in that program, I teach financial free. I push it heavy because a lot of African Americans don't really understand that and have this mindset that's set up by the system that in order for you to be deemed as successful, you have to have this salary, you have to drive this car, you have to have this house. So those
Mhm.
kids that go after those things and not realizing that uh, there's really no difference from you, that kid is on the north side, and that kid that's out on the Dual Clayton town and country. Um, y'all all at a zero credit, y'all at zero
I
debt.
got it. I got it.
Only thing that they might have different than you, which is only a small percentage of them, they may just have a trust fund that's been set up from their parents or they have assets that's been passed down from generation to generation.
Right.
Then that's only a small percent. But you all are closer to to being a millionaire than you think.
Yeah, I like where you're going. I like where you're going. It sounds like you really are taking a holistic approach to
Oh
trying
yeah.
to push them to success, changing some of the belief systems, which I think that's so important. It's so important to shift the beliefs to give them new beliefs to to
Yes.
to go by to be the guidepost that they operate off.
Hmm.
Then you're also sharing those real tactics that are going to help push them and be that support system. Like, man, this is really powerful, man. I'm really thankful to have you on here today, and I know a lot of this comes from your research that you did to get your EDD. Like, can you talk to me a little bit about? I believe you focused on African American male mentorship. Is that
Yes,
correct?
yes,
Okay.
that's correct. So my
Okay.
research was focused on mentorship of African American males, and the reason
Okay.
why is because um, African American males have had this negative connotation that's been placed on them for years now, and to the point where they believe it, and it's a very the success of the black men is very important to America, and a lot of people don't realize that. Some people do, and some of those people that do, they capitalize off of the success of black men.
Okay.
But um, I realized that, and
Talk
and
to
in my
me. Stay,
study,
stay there. I don't want you to go too far. Go deeper on that. You're saying the success of America is linked to the success of the African American male. Can you go a little
yes,
deeper with that point?
yes. So in my study, in my as I was doing my research, I came across some information and certain things that we it's kind of like common sense information, but like when you
Okay.
actually doing research, you actually find like actual like data that actually can be that's more descriptive to certain things that we already know, give you more context and more detail. So America makes billions and billions of dollars off of black culture. So black men are very successful when it comes to basketball and football. Those are some of the most uh, the highest revenue generating sports. Also, the entertainment industry. They're capitalizing off of the success of black men.
Okay.
Black men dominate hip hop. Hip hop right now is the number one genre, and
Of
it is
music.
the biggest money maker in on planet Earth.
Right.
On planet Earth, in the whole universe, in the Milky Way, the black man, people
Okay.
love the black
Okay.
man, and
Okay.
also and also another thing too, and it's kind of it's a very interesting find as well. The black man is also looked at as a sex icon.
Okay.
Yes, the black man is looked at as a sex icon
Hmm.
too as well, and a lot of people are making a lot of money off of the image of the black man. A lot of money.
Now, how do we go from some of this research into tying that into the mentorship part, like so that I guess our brothers, our young brothers, can find their own success in these pathways, or other pathways, or tell me more
Yeah.
about that part.
So the thing is, which we heard this for years, and
Okay.
it's something that you hear all the time, and you know, but it's sometimes it's easy to forget. There was a saying, if you don't want a black person to know something, put it in a book.
Okay. Okay.
So a lot of the information, a lot of different details are right there, but a lot of us don't know. Or a lot of us don't have the mentorship to point us in that direction to where to get that information. And all you have to do is just read. And what I do with my mentorship, I provide them that information. I open their eyes. I allow them to see the truth. I allow them to see reality. I allow them to see the construct of this country. Another thing is another like discipline that I bring in is history in my classes. If I wasn't teaching business, I'd be a history teacher.
Okay. Okay.
I talk about I use so many different events in history to show how America was constructed
Okay.
and how
Okay.
capitalism has impacted our country. And it's a double-edged sword because with everything there's pros and cons.
Right.
And I talk to my students about how the way this world is set up, it's a game. You
Hmm.
got to know how to play the game. And
So
so
you're
many of our
giving them.
black men.
So you're giving them. I like where you going with this, because I think it's a responsibility, and I think you see it the same way. It's a responsibility for any of us as African American males who have found any measure of success or access to share that information with other young brothers and sisters,
Right.
because somehow, like, you found some nuggets of wisdom, like you said about the scholarships. You found yourself in a position to understand, oh, this is the process, this is how it works, this is the information you need, these are the people that are getting the scholarships, have these extracurriculars, they have these grades, their essays or like this or set up this way. So now you're able to share that information with someone who
Right.
maybe in their family, in their household or immediate family, they're going to, like you said, they're going to be first generation college students. So who else would they get that information from? They have to get it from
Exactly.
Uncle Mike.
Exactly. And that's the thing, man. And another thing too is,
Okay.
of course, reading, research, that also helps. But my experience, things that I've seen with my own eyes. I've been around some people that are very influential, that have power. As it relates to in the area of education, some key decision makers. I've been
Okay.
around them.
Okay.
I've seen them. I developed relationships with them. And I
Okay.
was a fly on the wall because I was so young. I seen so many things take place.
Mm-hmm.
I seen so many things. People who you thought were this, or thought were this noble man or this noble woman, this man and woman that really care about students, they really care about kids, they really care about minorities. Oh man, I was in the dressing room, man. I seen it all.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
seen the good, bad, and the ugly,
Yeah.
and that also that really uh, really did something to me and make me just increase my passion to work with kids
Yeah.
because I see how they are taken advantage of.
Yeah. And you see the need, and I
I
love
see
how
that
you
need.
I love how you I mean, that's just the reality of any industry or anything. When you get behind the scenes,
Oh yeah,
sometimes leaders, executives, directors, or whatever, people are forced to make some tough decisions, and sometimes that may leave some people out in the cold, and it may elevate others. And so I do believe, I think it's powerful for you to take all those experiences that you've had and and deliver it into the classroom on a daily basis, as well as going that extra mile and believing. I look that you can do something extra, that you can go and whether it's lead a program that's in your school already that exists and take that to a next level, or start something like you did with your young professional student organization that you're doing to make an impact on these kids. Last question for you. Talk to me about like being a black male in education, man. Like, can you talk to me about like what do we need to do for any of my CTE
mm,
directors, superintendents who are listening to this or watching this? What can we do to try to get more um, positive black males in education like yourself, or to keep them, to get them to stay?
yeah.
Like, what are,
That's
what are some
important.
things?
Retention. Yeah.
Yeah, what are some things that you think can help with that to either get them in and retain?
We got to, for one, we got to change the narrative around teaching. I didn't want to be a teacher when I was growing up because I was told that teachers don't make money, and that was from my teachers. And I was also told from my teachers that teaching is a hard job, it's stressful, and a lot of them came in unhappy. So I'm saying to myself, why would I want to do something like that? And they said, well, doctors make this amount, lawyers make this amount. If you're in the NFL, you make this amount. So that was the route I went. So I'm like, okay, I'm playing football. That's my focus. Go to the NFL. Like a lot of black
Yeah.
guys. Also, um, outside of that, I was thinking, well, maybe I'll be a lawyer, you know, because of the money. But you see what
Okay.
I'm saying? So
Okay.
we got to change that narrative because um, teaching isn't the only thing that you can. That's not the only job in education. That's one of the important jobs, and also your salary goes up over time. And the start off salary is not bad.
Okay.
Um, It's not, no, it's not 200,000, but it's good enough where you can live a decent life, and then over time the salary increases. Each year I done got raises. Each
Mhm.
year I keep getting raise after raise after raise after raise. So
And you
that's
can
one thing.
go, and there are other positions like what you're
That's
saying, like you can go from classroom to principal to administrator.
exactly.
Hmm.
Yeah, exactly. Then you can move up to different positions, which also change in salary. So that's something we need to change, that narrative, and stop saying, "Oh, teachers don't make money. Teachers don't make money. Teachers are poor." No, no, that's not true. That's false. I worked in HR.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I've done
You
that.
said you've seen the numbers.
Yeah, I was the guy that
Right,
was. They had me doing everything in HR. So I,
right,
I, I was offering the jobs, which means I had to put the salaries on them. I didn't tell them
right.
what their salary was. So like I know all about that stuff. So that's one of the things we need to change,
Okay.
because right now African Americans, the household income is extremely low. You know what I'm saying? Like in St. Louis is around like 20,000, 21,000.
Hmm.
But the average teacher makes double that
Right.
starting off with just only a bachelor's degree. So imagine if a good portion of that population is
Yeah.
making 40,000, that's going to be a tremendous hike in the household income in our community, in the Black community.
Hmm.
So that's one thing we got to do. We got to make it
Change the
more
narrative.
appealing. Tell the truth.
Hmm.
Another thing, we have to be more transparent, which goes along with telling the truth. But we have
Okay.
to be transparent and empathetic. Like I was saying, like I seen so many different things. I seen so many people get hurt, and that's why I said what I said. I'm not gonna name any names or
Right.
anything
No, we're
like
not gonna
that.
do
I don't do that
that.
stuff.
Right.
But I'm just saying, like it's real out here, and I care about people. You
Hmm.
know what I mean? A lot of Black guys don't want to work in education because of their experience. And when I was doing my research on my doctorate degree, the research shows that African Americans have the worst experience in education from a child, from kindergarten.
Hmm.
They're the ones that get disciplined the most. They could do the same thing as a black female, a black girl, a white girl, or a white boy, and the consequences and how he will be dealt with is much harder. So when you 4 or 5, you 5 years old, and then you get
You
Tyrell,
start
stop
that.
doing that. You
Yeah.
get that type of tone, Tyrell, go to time out. And
Mm.
then you may get a black girl, stop it, Sasha. Just make
Right.
sure that you keep control. Or you get a white boy, Bobby. We don't do that.
Yeah. So I get where you're going. So you're saying probably one of the bigger things is we can start trying to be more supportive of
More
our young brothers
supportive,
in the
so they
African
can have a
American
better
males that are
experience.
in the school system, to encourage them, and maybe shifting like what you're saying, teachers, when you talk about your job, talk about it, make sure you're keeping it balanced and sharing the highlights of the success stories, the things that you enjoy about the career, all the different lives that
Right.
you have the opportunity to transform, and
Right,
and
giving
to
them,
help
providing a
lead.
positive experience. Just like you,
Yeah.
for example, just like, okay, you open a restaurant. Um, Chick-fil-A is so successful because of the experience.
Right.
Uh, Raising Cane's is so successful it's because of the experience. I know when I go to Chick-fil-A, my food is going to be hot.
Right.
I know I'm going to meet people that'll be smiling.
Right.
When I go to Raising Cane's, I know that when I pull up to that drive-through, they have some type of little funny tagline.
Or
You know what I'm
something. Yeah.
saying?
Right. Right.
I know once I get my food is gonna be blistering hot the way that I like it, and I'm not gonna
Right.
wait real long in line. So I want to keep going back. I had a great experience there. I want to people continue to go to the Apple Store. They don't mind lining up at the Apple Store for a new Apple product because their experience from beginning, middle to end. So
Hmm.
the experience of researching and finding out about the product, seeing the product online, going to the store, and buying the product, the experience inside the store. And then once they get the product and use the product, their experience while using it. You see what I'm saying? And then there's always some type of update. There's always some type of new product coming. So we got to look at it from that standpoint. If you want to get more black men, and I hear this all the time, I hear this all the time from so many administrators, so many HR people, and you have to really mean it. If you want black men, you have to show it. We're in the show me state. You got to show that you want black men in your schools. Actually, actually mean what you're saying. Don't say it and then don't mean it. What I mean by don't mean it is, oh well, we had like two black males that apply. I just don't think that I don't think they're be a good fit. They're a good fit. Um, or another thing is when you get them, oh, we're so happy to have you, but then don't treat them like you're happy to have them, because you
Mhm.
have to try to understand them. Black men, we represent less than 2% of the teachers in the United States of America, so you have to try to understand us and have use empathy towards us like there is for all the other groups, because there is not
Mhm.
that many of us there. So you have to be very empathetic.
So elevate. So we need to elevate to attract more African American male teachers to increase that thing from 2% to 10% to five
That's
percent.
right.
Like
That's right. We need to,
is we have to elevate the empathy
mhm.
that we're offering to them when they make it into the school district, into the school, into the environment, and then also some shifts in the marketing, the way we present the
Exactly.
job, the way we present the idea, the concept of working in education.
Right.
Um, because
Exactly. Have a
I think it's
campaign.
so impactful, man. Like I've seen you in your classroom. I know we're at the end now, so I'll go ahead and let the cat out the bag. Dr. Gibson is my cousin, so I've known Dr. Gibson his whole life. He's known me
All my life.
my whole life. So, but seeing him in the classroom with his students is so powerful. Just the way that they respond to you. But I know it's because of all the things that you said. It's like one they feel comfortable with you just based on the humanity aspect of like, okay, here's another African American male, someone who's teaching that looks like me. But then also you give that uncle vibe. You may represent that fatherly figure for some people as well, and you're showing that you care, and so they're open to hearing and listening to what it is that you have to say when it comes time to actually deliver the curriculum, deliver the business, um, deliver the entrepreneurship classes, deliver the computer tech classes, because they know, hey, this is someone who has my best interest. So hats off to you, man. This has been a great conversation, Dr. Mike. Is there any way, like, if we have someone who's interested in getting in contact with you, um, you're on Facebook. I know you're not on Instagram. Is there anything you're on any social media right now? No.
uh, only the closest thing that
LinkedIn?
I
Or you're
have
on
is
LinkedIn?
LinkedIn.
You're on LinkedIn. Okay.
LinkedIn is about the only thing that I have. And then when you're a teacher, that's one thing. I mean, like
I know, yeah, that's tough.
you
I know
don't
that's
want
tough.
your class, your students to
No,
find
that's a no
your
no.
Instagram accounts and stuff. And yeah, so
So all right.
but I
So look,
am on LinkedIn.
if you need to get in touch with Dr. Gibson, send me an email and I'll
And
put you in
then you can
touch.
also reach me at you can also reach me at M Gibson MGIBSON 1436 at gmail.com.
Okay, I
M
love
Gibson MGIB SON 1436 at gmail.com. You got any questions? You want to go into further discussions, or you want even more in-depth transparent discussion, whatever it is that you want, I'm here to really help better education in our city and hopefully in the country. I really want to uh, get more black males in education, and I want to create a win for everybody, not just
it.
African Americans, but for all of us together. That's what I want.
I love it. Thank you, Dr. Gibson. Um, I think there's no better way to close it out than that. Listen, Dr. Gibson, thank you for sharing your passion around education. Thank you for sharing your passion around CTE. Thank you for sharing your passion around inspiring the next generation of African American educators to find success in education, and for the hands-on work that you're really doing in our school system with our inner city kids. You're a shining example of what it looks like to find success in career tech education. So thank you. As I always say, you don't have to be great to get started, but you have to get started to be great. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Peace.